Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your reading for the week ahead. So quite a big week for you. Got 3 major arcana indicating big shifts, big energies, big interceptions of the universe. It's starting with the Hanged Man. It's feeling quite topsy-turvy this week. There's definitely highlights, lowlights, shadows, and light. The Hanged Man is likely to feel a bit frustrated this week, waiting for things to land, waiting for things to come into place, waiting for things to manifest in many ways. You may feel as though you're tying yourself into knots, trying to get things to happen, trying to get things to work out. For whatever reason, the more that you struggle, the more that you try to kind of resist, the worse it seems to get. It's a bit like a ball of yarn, sometimes if you try or a knot, the more you yank it, the tighter it becomes. So it kind of, it's just feeling this slight frustration, really. And again, that frustration being born out of not necessarily having done anything wrong, overlooked things, having made previous mistakes that are coming up to kind of bite you on the behind. It's not that feeling. It's just this feeling of, why am I having to wait? Why isn't this quite working in the way that I'd anticipated or wanted it to? And again, that really linking in with the Justice card that comes next. The Justice card very much representing the rules of the universe. So again, this feeling of the Hanged Man, it's like, are we kind of falling into this place of victimhood, this place of, woe is me, because things aren't necessarily working out as we'd expected them or as we wanted them to? There's often this is an important reminder of when things don't necessarily land or fall into place as we'd anticipated them to. It might be because the universe, because God, because whatever has bigger, better, brighter things in store in front of us, and it's not up to us to figure out where it's going. Very often the frustrations that we experience in life is our own personal will coming into direct conflict with the divine will. It's like, I want it to be like this. Well, maybe that's not the way that it's meant to be. So as much as you can, it's sidestepping that. Any hint of victimhood is not well placed by any means. So it's just, okay, this isn't coming quite as quickly as I anticipated or quite as I wanted. And that could be a project, that could be a relationship, that could be things that you've been working on a while, putting a lot of effort into. Remember, sometimes the best and most useful thing we can do is just to kind of be patient, relax, let it go, and just allow it to unfold in its own divine time. And I know that's frustrating. I can feel that level of frustration. But again, we don't understand the universal influences that are going on, all of these different things that are in flux that are contributing to what is playing out beyond our comprehension and beyond our awareness. So again, it's a real thing about just having faith, having trust, and allowing it to come through. You may also find this week that you're kind of leading. You've got the Knight of Cups here, and I see this as a very kind of Cancerian energy, although it's not astrologically kind of set up in that way. But it does very much represent that watery element of kind of sometimes wearing one's heart on the sleeve, or just kind of trying to give oneself in an emotional way. It's like compassion or kindness, or trying to offer up our cup, our emotional cup, to others and say, here you go, take this, with this help, with this offer some support, would you like this? And that feeling at times a bit rejected. So we may be feeling themes of rejection this week. Sorry, it sounds like really cheery thing. But again, it's just a reminder of that rejection has nothing to do with me. That rejection has nothing to do with me. Or maybe it's a perceived rejection when it isn't. And there's such a strong sense here of, although we may feel that doors are closing, they are actually opening up. Again, we've got the King of Wands here. So the King of Wands to me could represent one of two things. The King of Wands really is the visionary. He's the person who's able to set his eyes on the goal, set his eyes on the horizon and go for it. and the King of Wands doesn't second guess themselves. So you may find that somebody comes in for you this week to offer you that support, to offer you that reconciliation, to offer you that reassurance. Hey, you've got this, don't worry, it's absolutely fine. Again, if there's somebody in your life that represents that, is somebody that seems to have this sagacity or this wisdom or this foresight, this person that doesn't allow kind of sometimes the setbacks and frustrations of life to get on top of them. Because you might need to steal a little bit of that energy this week in order to kind of pep you up and can keep you going. But remember that you are the Knight of Cups. You are by nature somebody that is very giving, very compassionate, very loving, does wear their hearts on their sleeves, doesn't do things unless they believe in them, does have this sensitive aspect and this sensitive soul. And that's absolutely okay. That's the way that things are meant to be. So it's not wishing that away, not wishing that anything was different as it is. There's a lot here around acceptance and a lot here around, do you know what, even in those times where I have the best intentions in the world and that doesn't seem to play out or doesn't seem to come out in the way that I'd anticipated, even though I put in the time, put in the energy, put in the effort, put in the hours, and yet this is the result. Hang on, that seems disproportionate. It isn't disproportionate. It might just not be manifesting itself in the way that we'd anticipated or in the way that you'd expected. So it's not kind of raising your fist at God and the universe going, how dare you? I'm so annoyed. I wanted it to be like this. It's just going, okay, fine. I don't quite understand at this moment. You know, there's so many times in my life where a seemingly bad thing, retrospectively afterwards I go, actually that was amazing, I'm so glad that happened. Actually, interestingly enough, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I'd done this collaboration with somebody, and it didn't work out well at all. They were a nightmare. It's really frustrating. They kept changing the goalposts, and then they stopped replying to emails, like a really kind of toxic exchange. But out of that came a really, really great connection, a really great relationship with somebody. And I said to them, do you know what? Despite all of that happening, all of those frustrations, all of that kind of slightly nasty vibe that happened, I got to meet you, and I think you're great. And that's why a lot of that needed to happen. So that kind of encapsulates the theme and the energy that is around this. So what do we do if we are feeling a bit frustrated, if we are feeling a bit stuck, if we're feeling, hang on a second, I've been putting in all this time, energy and efforts, but it's not necessarily working out? Two big things. One is acceptance. Okay, this is the way it is. If this is the best for me, then I surrender, I let go, I accept that that's the way that things are meant to be right now, and that's cool. And number two is gratitude. Actually looking at, well, again, maybe looking at those times where it was seemingly went wrong or there was something seemingly bad, but then retrospectively you go, oh no, that was brilliant. I'm so glad that it worked out like that. That might be really good to steel your heart against some of these frustrations or disappointments. But also just being grateful for what you've got right here, right now. And we can't be a victim and grateful. Those two things just can't go together. So again, look at your gratitude practice. Maybe it's about writing 3 things down at the beginning of your day, or just even putting your hands on your heart and just bringing to mind 3 things that you're grateful for, or trying to look for the positive, look for which you are grateful for in the most kind of seemingly challenging or difficult setbacks. That is a true sign of a spiritual maturity, really, of going, actually, there's no use kind of throwing my toys out the pram, having a tantrum, getting frustrated, feeling like the victim. That is not useful right now. What is useful is going, I'm so glad this has happened, because this has helped me understand patience. This has helped me understand the greater kind of powers at play. This has helped me understand that I am a compassionate person, and the best thing to do is to be compassionate and kind and caring in all situations. That's to understand that these setbacks and these frustrations are the period in which I grow. It's about understanding actually that support, or those people that imbue some of these different aspects of me, or embody rather these different aspects than I have, it's really good that they've got those people in my life. You may also find this is the last thing I promise. It's all good. It's absolutely all good. Again, there are big powers at play. We've got loads of major arcana. So a lot of this is happening for good reason. And there was a real sense of this would happen regardless. So it's a kind of reassurance here of it's not, you haven't kind of taken the wrong path. You haven't opened the wrong door. You didn't make the wrong choice. That's not what this is about. It's just collectively at a time where you might feel a little bit stuck. And actually trying to flip that on its head. And that's very much what the hangman represents. It's being able to see things from another perspective, from a spiritual perspective. And there's just a feeling here with the King of Wands as well, that you may come across somebody else trying to kind of dominate, whether that's in a work setting, whether that's in a kind of relationship setting, but trying to be quite forceful with their opinions or with the way that they see it. It's great because the King of Wands is a leader. They are able to get things through. So whether this is about you being mindful, actually, am I being a bit dominant? Am I playing the role of the tyrant? Is that actually part of who I am? Probably not. Or it's about how do we navigate that kind of showing in your life, particularly if you've got somebody that you're feeling is kind of quite overbearing and quite overpowering. And some of the advice here is just to try and circumnavigate that, just try and kind of get out from under their thumb, just kind of go, do you know what? And it's not about trying to be combative or prove them wrong or kind of stand up for yourself to the kind of last. That's not the approach here. It's much more conducive, much more useful to just go, fine, I'm just going to go off and do this. Don't kind of find yourself into conflict in that way. But I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.